Let's start it.
Get it.
Man. Welcome to another episode of Living with Dan and Danny, formerly known as Living Single with Dan and Dan. As always, I'm Danny, star of the show, and to my left,
I'm the star.
the people have voted. And
F it. I'm just me. That's good enough, man. I'm Dan. Welcome to the show. Appreciate y'all watching.
yeah, man, we got a special guest.
We do. So this young lady was like one of four African Americans at my previous job. Very smart, in a leadership role, works her butt off. A little bit annoying, but I love her and I appreciate her for giving us her time today. Raven!
Welcome.
What's up? What's up?
Hello.
Is this good for you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Perfect. How are you doing?
I'm good. Am I looking into the camera?
Yeah, so this is your main camera right here.
Okay,
So you can
cool.
look at myself, you can look at Danny.
Got
you
you.
know.
Okay.
Casual convo,
All
first
right.
timer.
First timer.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I'm excited.
can you tell people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Raven, obviously. I just turned 30.
Big 3-0.
Big 3-0, dirty 30.
Yeah.
Last week, actually. So
Happy belated.
thank you. I am from New Orleans originally.
So is Dan. Small world.
Did you know I was from Louisiana?
We talked about this
Okay,
once.
Leesville, so you know.
In
New
what
Orleans.
conjunction is Leesville to New Orleans?
It's not.
He likes to
We all
claim.
from the boot.
He likes to claim Fayetteville as well. He's
we're all
like
from the
from
boot.
an hour
He's from
away.
wherever.
We from the boot, man. I'm from A. You know
The
what I'm talking
boot?
about? They know me.
The boo.
That's what we call it.
I've never heard anybody call it
You
that.
remember when our people used to...
Our people.
Us. We're both... Haters.
The boo.
So,
Yeah. So, been in Charlotte for 15, 16 years now.
Wow.
goodness. How did you get from New Orleans to Charlotte?
Hurricane Katrina. So, I was 11 years old. So, y'all have to do the math there. So, my math might be off how long I've been living here. But 11 years old, and I was going into 7th grade, and Hurricane Katrina hit. So, we evacuated, went to Texas first, and then from Texas went to Georgia once the levees broke. And then after that, we realized we didn't have a home anymore. It was a
Damn.
little traumatic, but we realized we didn't have a home anymore, and so we came to Charlotte.
Can you tell us about, what that was like for you and your family? Because for
Especially
me,
as
I
a
remember.
kid.
Yeah, because I remember, I think I was in 7th grade getting new students in school, like, oh, they came from Louisiana. It's like, oh, all right, what's up?
Yeah.
So the whole thing was relatively, it was as normal as it could possibly be. Like,
Y'all had
it
a lot of
wasn't
love?
traumatic
Okay.
for me. And I got that question a lot as a kid. It was like, how did this impact you? And I'm like, it really didn't. Like, it was just like, okay, I live in New Orleans now. We have nothing. We're starting over. And I think what kept it fairly normal was that my mom, my family, like everybody around us never made it seem like it was a huge traumatic deal. And like now looking back, I'm like, how? Like what in the world? But for me then, it was very normalized. Like there was no nightmares, no like anything crazy. I never
That's
saw
good for
anything crazy because we evacuated.
Yeah.
So
Have you had a chance to speak to your mother about that, like what it took for her to move from Louisiana to Texas to, I believe, say Georgia, then to North Carolina?
yeah, we talk about it in passing. It's not something that we ever really bring up because it's something that happened and
Yeah.
we moved on from
forward,
it.
yeah.
But she was in a job. She's a single mother, so she was in a job that wasn't good for her, wasn't good for her mental health. She had just ended a difficult relationship. So when we moved, she was in a bad place, and she was actually in a bad place during that time before, and I didn't know it. And that's like shout out to my
That's
mom
testament.
because
Yeah.
I'm la la la, everything's
Yeah.
fine. I think
Facts.
everything's
Facts.
good. And she was in the worst position that she's ever been. So I think for her, it gave her an opportunity to start over, and I think that's how she could be so positive about it.
No, that's a testament to your mom. Because what you say, you're about 11-ish
Yeah.
or so.
Mhm.
I have a 7-year-old, and I'm worried that like when I have a rough day, she can tell. So for the fact that you couldn't tell, that means your mother did a heck of a job,
She
like
did.
concealing
Yeah.
it.
She
And
did. And now that I'm older, like I see it, you kind of see it in a different way because you see it as an adult, but like she was going through some really really rough stuff and
Mhm.
she managed to just like keep it moving. She was like, okay, this is our life. She came here, we got a job. I went to school with my cousins.
Mm.
I'm an only child, so that was the closest thing I've ever had to siblings.
Mhm.
I hated it. um and everything was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, could you describe yourself as a person? Like, what makes you tick? What drives you? What motivates you? Your aspirations?
Yeah, so me as a person, and I've realized this especially recently, I seek peace. I like
Mhm.
I like everything to just be. I don't like drama. I don't like chaos.
Mhm.
I'd like to say I'm like very even keel, but my what drives me is my desire for peace and my desire for harmony, and I want that in my life. I want that in my personal life, my professional life, and so I do what I can to maintain
What does that look like? It, again, knowing
that.
where you work. How do you go about achieving that peace or maintaining it rather?
So sometimes achieving peace can also look like making waves and standing up for yourself when there is a problem. Because
Yep.
in order to attain peace, sometimes there are times where you have to like get out of line just a little bit to get back
Hmm.
into
Hmm.
what peace looks like. And so for me, that's what I've had to do. And I've realized that peace is not just being quiet and being like status quo and sitting there and not talking. It's sometimes going, okay, this isn't right. This is going to cause a ripple effect. Here's how we get things back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Where did you get the confidence to cause ripple effects? Like, cause me personally, again, we all black up here. We all black up here. As a black man, I ain't trying to cause a ripple. I feel like it's enough
Right.
ripples already, and it's
That's
like
what the man wants you to think, brother.
exactly we're like condition. It's like crazy. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. So
I mean, the confidence comes from, I think, my drive for peace. And again, realizing that when something's not right, it's okay to say it. And that doesn't mean that you are not peaceful. That doesn't mean that you're causing chaos. It just means that you're trying to align things to where they're correct. And so that confidence just is my drive for it. It's so strong and it's so deep within me that I can't be quiet.
love it. When it comes to um, dating,
Mm.
you are a single woman.
I'm a single lady.
So fellas,
Heard it's crazy out there.
yeah.
It's rough. I
Tell,
hate
tell,
it.
tell us
I
about that. Tell
hate
us about it.
it.
It's ghetto.
It's ghetto.
All right,
It's hood.
tell us.
Okay, it is poverty. Like it's
Country ghetto?
country ghetto.
That's
Like
the
Mm.
worst.
it's rough. Um, what was the question?
Hey, you sound like you. Hey, I want you to express what the ghetto is like.
the
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 ups and
ghetto
downs.
the ghetto is like, I'm a person who seeks like genuine connections,
Hmm.
and so rather that is like, again, my personal relationships or even like a romantic relationship. And it's hard because I'm trying to find people who also seek the same thing, and it's a lot of just weeding out the like bullshit.
Hmm.
Like it's a lot of that, and everybody is looking for something different. People aren't necessarily always obvious about what they're not honest about what they're looking for. And so that's hard. That's rough. And you know, there there are people out there just will say anything.
To
I'm
get what they
like,
want.
some of the stuff that I get on like dating apps is disgusting, and I'm like, who raised you? What? Like, this is not a human being
Who
talking to me
raised
right
you?
now. So
Oh, it's like that?
it's like that. It's
Dang.
like
Do
that.
you
Like,
have an example?
oh
I gotta
god,
know.
there's been I got like pickup lines. Pickup lines can be cute, but also pickup lines can make me think that you might be a serial killer. Like, I want to drink your bath water. Can you
Ooh.
send me feet pics? Like,
Mmm.
I get like unsolicited dick pics, and I'm like,
Mmm.
no offense, but
Hey,
your
they
dick isn't even
wild.
big enough to have that much confidence to send that. I said what I
Mmm.
said. Like,
Did you say
don't.
that too?
Yes, I was like, why are you doing this? I
That's
would keep this a
crazy.
secret if I were you.
That gotta hurt. That gotta hurt.
I got blocked. And I like it
Well,
felt
hopefully
like
they learned as well.
Facts.
like I had a guy who was like, I want you to call me daddy. But then he was like, do you like this? Like all this daddy talk. And I was like, I need you to stop. My father's dead. I didn't have a relationship with him. This
Mm.
is very triggering to me.
That's crazy.
And again, I'm honest. So
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
when they do that, I like to make them as uncomfortable as
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
they
made
deserve
me.
it at that
So
point.
yeah,
Facts.
there's probably some broken egos out there.
So weeding through all this, you see a guy, you want that genuine connection. What does he look like? Not just physically, but like
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally, all that fun stuff.
So physically, like full disclosure, all my life I've been told that like I've liked white guys, and I
Mhm.
have.
Mhm.
And as I've gotten older, like I've been attracted to black guys and like other races, but I have always like kind of gravitated towards white guys.
Mhm.
But now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to
She woke.
appreciate. I
She
am.
About
I
to
waking up.
say,
am.
cause
She waking up. Get
I
down
I
with
ain't
the
never heard
vibes.
no black woman publicly admit that.
We
I
gonna have to get
said
into that.
what I said.
We gonna have to get into that.
Dr. Umar, we gonna have to bring you on, bro.
But now that I'm getting older, what I'm starting to appreciate is that the black experience is
It's
something
elite.
that it's elite, but
Look
it's
at our
also
skin. Come
something
on
that
now.
like
Come on now.
how
Come
could you
on now.
not love us?
Come
You
on
know?
now.
And the black experience is something that's been shared. Like I could
It was
talk,
white people asking you to drink that bath water, wasn't it?
of course.
See, that's see.
Yeah,
Listen,
Ugh.
and then
man.
see that's
That
and
should.
that's when I was like, something's not right here.
Ugh.
Wait a minute. The daddy thing, also a white guy,
Hey.
and I'm like, I'm starting to notice the trend in what's
Yeah.
wrong here. But
Yeah.
what I'm really
Yeah. That is it. Bingo. Hit the nail
what
on the
I'm
head with that one.
realizing is the black experience is also very shared. So
Yeah.
like I could talk to you and like we've clearly grown up and like two step,
Yeah.
we're not related.
All black
Mhm.
people
You
grow
know,
up the same.
but like all of
Mhm.
us grow up the same. Like when your mom says we got McDonald's, like
Mhm.
we don't have
You
no
made that
McDonald's
money.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we've all
Yeah.
been told that. And like getting a spanking was like normal for me.
That's
And,
crazy. Like they had to be a meeting at some point that said,
That's
"Yo,
what I'm
here's your
saying.
list of notes of what you got to say as a parent,"
Which is
and just
crazy
pass
because
it down.
my mom is older, so
Mhm.
I come from like she's in her mid 60s now.
Oh,
Wow.
1 second. Shout out to my mama. She don't watch this. Sometimes she watch the clip. So this becomes a clip. Happy belated birthday to my mama. She just turned 68. All right.
Yeah,
There we
Happy
go.
happy
birthday.
birthday.
There we go.
My mom is older, so it's not even like I'll talk to somebody whose mom was like kind of younger when they
Mhm.
had them,
Mhm.
and they're black. They still had that same
Mhm.
experience, the same phrases. Like
Mhm.
you better know them. You better know that homework. Like you know them lyrics or
Yeah.
whatever. Like
Mine was spelling words.
yeah.
You know that song you need to learn spelling words.
Correct.
Like, yeah.
So I'm now really appreciating the fact that I can bond with somebody on that level, and I'm into it.
That's a solid foundation
Beautiful
to start.
thing. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful. Black love is
black
beautiful.
black love is beautiful, and I'm sad that it took me this long to start to really lean into it and realizing it, but I'm here now.
Hey,
I am
I-
here.
Kings, come swoop in.
Yes.
save her now.
Yes,
She just
Save her.
turned
please.
30.
I
Save
want
her.
to be saved.
I told you, man, the 30s is where the fun begins.
Facts.
And you turn it, you down with the brown now.
I'm down with the brown.
Listen,
That
you
doesn't mean
good.
that I'm not open, but I am down with the brown. No bathwater drinkers, please.
So just sticking on relationships
Mm.
for just a little bit. You mentioned the tough part about the market and all that, but being reflective, what has been the hardest part about dating you?
Yeah.
Good question.
That is a good
Thank you,
question.
man.
And I actually have an answer for this. I a single mother, so I didn't have a real relationship with my father, and so there is for sure some trauma there, like full disclosure.
Mhm.
And for a long time, it's hard for me to just give my trust away because I've been lied to, and I've had situations where I've trusted people and it didn't go well. And so that kind of makes me a little bit gun shy and it has me a little bit closed up. But um, a little therapy is helping.
Mhm.
Being honest about it is helping. But I think that that's probably one of the harder things about dating me is that I can initially from the start be a little bit closed off. But I'm working on it.
All right, this is a question. I think I have two questions. Like when you're dating, if at all, how long do you expect somebody to wait for you to sort of open up? And then, Danny, this is for you. How long do you wait for somebody to get over their trauma? I know you never get over your trauma, but like at a certain extent, like you got to see some growth, some progress. And I'm just speaking from like it was tough for me when I first got my relationship because my girl, she had a traumatic past, and it's like, yo, like I can't.
How long are you gonna hold me to that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what do you what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
So
So for me, I I'm like I'm not expecting anybody to weed through. In my mind, the right person will see the value in
the
me
real you.
and want that, and I'm very upfront about my trauma. Not like upfront like I'm gonna tell you like first date because like don't want to scare anybody off. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm honest about where I am, where I've come from, and so first things first is like that person seeing the value in me and seeing that
Mm.
that they're interested in pursuing this and are willing to work with me. I'm not saying, and that is to me there's a difference between waiting and working with me,
Mm.
Very,
and
very different.
that's what I want.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's a time because to your point, you're never going to be over your trauma. But I think that the right person is willing to, again, see the value and work and
I,
help me work.
yeah, for sure. Um, to your second question, I feel like it depends on the person. Like we have people that like you can realize your trauma and then you're just aware of it, but you don't want to act on it. And if you get to the point of awareness and it starts to affect the relationship, then if I don't see you making the steps to, work on yourself, do that self work, then I would have to walk away or we will have to part ways at that point. But I'm gonna push you to be your best self. Like that's how I am with friends, like
Hmm.
if you had this and you want to do it,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna try to hold you accountable and push you to do it. But I can't do it for you.
Right.
So if you're not the person that's gonna act,
Yeah.
then no, I couldn't work with you through it. But if you willing to act, hey, I'm right here. I'm gonna be your biggest cheerleader. And I feel like that's what you gotta base it
Yeah.
I hope there's not. This is gonna be. Just bear with me. I hope there's not anybody out there that's like alone because I think with traumatic experiences and anything else, like a support system, even just one person is like so huge. And I couldn't imagine getting through things or people I know them trying to get through things without having anybody. So whether that's a counselor, a friend, a family member, a coworker, whoever, if you can find somebody that can, help you through or just be an ear,
or
a
an
sounding
outlet.
board.
It
Yeah.
Yeah.
could be an outlet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A hobby.
And if nothing else, like your person is somebody that you're able to speak honestly with. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't need to be where there's like this sage and they're this all knowing
Yeah.
wise person. It's just somebody that I can say, this is how I feel. I don't necessarily I know why I'm feeling it, but like what's my next step? I'm a very like talk it through type of person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, if I can just get it out there, once it's out there, like I can start to do the work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's
I think
important,
that's a good transition to speak on mental health. I think
especially in our community.
yes, especially our community, black individuals, black males, black women. Can you talk about things that you realize that you've had to address and just your journey through mental health?
yeah. So mental health is extremely important to me. I suffer with depression. I have anxiety. I do have past trauma. And the first thing for me is, again, honesty, speaking on it, acknowledging it. I think that that's something that doesn't happen enough in the black community. And it makes you feel alone, which is, you know, depression and all of these things going on in your head all by themselves are a lonely experience. But then when you think you have no one or where you think nobody else is going through those things, it it makes it 100 times worse. So again, the first step for me is I'm a big talker. Like I talk about everything. I'm not closed off on my personal feeling, like what I'm going through. I'm not closed off on it. Like if you ask me what's my mental health,
Mhm.
what medicine are you on, like what do you do, like I'm going to tell it to you, one, because I don't want anybody to feel alone. And that's something that I've had to get into the I've had to get into, and I've started to just be open about it, and it makes some people uncomfortable, and they're like, this girl's crazy, like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yes, I am, and proud of it. Let me tell you about how I
Yeah.
can, like,
Everybody's crazy.
dial back my crazy.
Yeah.
How do I get through the day as my crazy? And again, it's just about people not feeling alone. I didn't know that mental health issues ran in my family until we started talking about it. And now, I'm open, I'm honest about it. I see my doctor, I, see my, psychiatrist, I talk to people about it, talk to my friends about it. If there are signs that I see in somebody, like I'm not an armchair psychiatrist or anything where I'm trying to diagnose anybody,
Hmm.
but if somebody's feeling a type of way, I feel that I can reach out and just let them know that, like, what they're feeling, they're not alone, that it's I mean, it's fairly normal. Like,
Yeah.
more people than are on some type of medication or been diagnosed with depression, bipolar, all these things, and we just not talking about it.
Yeah.
So,
Like, one, thank you for sharing.
of course.
Two, when I lost my job, one of the hardest things for me was to process the feelings, but also when to let it go. Like, I was fine talking with people about it, especially people I work with, because I think if nobody else knew, it was unjust. They knew.
Yeah.
So that's where I felt comfort. But then as time went on, it's like, I don't want every time I talk to these people, it's about that.
Yeah.
But it's like, they're the ones that understand.
Yeah.
And then, continue on. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to be over this now. So if I'm supposed to be over this, what's my next steps? So now, like, am I healed from this because I'm supposed to be over it? Like, am I doing the right next steps? Like, what to do? So
So you keep saying you're supposed to be over it.
says who though, right? It's
Exactly.
just mental.
You decide when you're over something. You decide when that. And so if your support system isn't, like, if they get tired of hearing about the same thing, that this happened or that happened, like, that's not the support system I want. Like, even if you
Facts.
hear the same story over and over from me, maybe I just need to say it. Maybe I need to get this off my chest. So there's nobody should tell you when you're supposed to be over
Yeah.
something.
I think that goes
I
back
agree
to
with that.
like conditioning or just like perspective because I'm a big in my head person.
Hmm.
Like nobody told me anything. People are probably happy to listen to it, but I just try to carry myself in a certain way at a certain level that like I don't want any this is toxic. I know. I don't want anybody worried, about what I got cuz I can handle it, but it'll be a lot easier to handle if I talk about it more. So, but that's like my bout with mental health. Have you, Danny, had any instances where you're like, all right, this is challenging mentally?
I think I don't know if I've had like mental health issues. I do or have found myself being very anxious, especially in situations where I was like just uncomfortable. It was times where I've had like kind of out of body experiences, or I'm about to go into something and I'm like start to shake, or I'm um, obsessing over it constantly. So I've had those type of experiences, but I worked for a mental health company, a startup, for like 8 months last year, and that broadened my perspective a lot, just about learning more about mental health and stigma. And then at the time, like losing a job, transitioning into parenthood, like there was a lot of
It's a lot
pressure.
Happened
going
at
on.
once,
It's
yeah.
Yeah,
a lot going
a
on.
lot of pressure. But I'm huge on like meditation and visualization. I did some sessions with a life coach as well, just to have somebody to talk through things through, and that helped to change my perspective a lot, just about how I look at day to day life and how I approach things. I think one of our previous guests, Nod, said it best, like control what you can control.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who likes to be in control of
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So it was a lot of just letting go of that. And I still get anxious. I still get uncomfortable sometimes, but it's no more, I'm not, you know, I'm not shaking or, anything like that. I'm not over obsessing. So it's getting better. It's a work in progress, but
Good.
Aren't we all?
yeah.
Aren't we
Aren't
all?
we all? Um, Before we get out of here, I got one more question. Then we'll hit you with some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Um, just going back to who you are professionally for a second,
Okay.
can you describe like because you are in a role of leadership, like so what that is like, and also just explain it from the perspective of a black woman in a role of leadership in a predominantly white company.
Yeah. I've worked very hard to get where I am. I'm proud of absolutely everything that I've done. It is challenging at times because despite me wanting to keep the peace but also speaking up for myself, I try to maintain that balance. One thing that really gets me is I don't feel like I can be angry or upset in the workplace because I don't want that angry black woman
Yeah.
stigma that does I mean that's out there, that
Hmm.
stereotype. And so not that I'm gonna like go all like Hulk
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
start
yeah, yeah,
throwing
yeah.
stuff around the office, but that I can feel my feelings even when they're not positive, and be honest about them without people thinking that I'm an angry black woman. But what I do know is that I've worked very hard to get where I am. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. My goal is to keep growing. Again, with our company being the company being predominantly white, it is it's difficult because I do feel like I have to work harder than some of my counterparts.
Hmm.
I'm dealing with something right now where I'm seeking a promotion. I've been in my current role for 2 years. I want to be promoted now. I've witnessed 3 to 4 other people who were promoted the first time at the same time as me. They have now surpassed me. And that's difficult. And I don't
Yeah,
want to think that that is a race thing, but it pops into the back of your head.
For
And
sure.
so
For
I,
sure.
I find myself working harder because I feel like I need to prove myself.
for sure. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I can go off on a tangent about that. I don't know if you remember, we'll be sitting in the desk, and I'll be texting him like, fam. So we had these like quarterly meetings, and like that's when they speak on the numbers and all that. They have a promotion. Somebody come up, they announce it, like, congratulate Mike. Mike just got here. I sat through, damn it, I started. I'm like, Raven, ain't no way, like, fair. What's going on?
Yeah.
So, but the same thing, like, you start to question it, like, you don't want to be that black person, but like, to what point it's like, F it, I am that black person. Like,
Right.
what do you want? Like, this
Well,
is
then you
me.
start looking
Yeah,
around and it's like, okay, so I know it's not my work ethic. I know it's not my work.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what
What?
is
Yeah,
it?
what is
I
it?
have to
Literally.
know.
Yeah,
And then I feel like a crazy person. I'm almost like gaslighting
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yep,
okay, what am I doing wrong?
yeah.
And nobody can give me a reason. So I have to deduce that the reason is something beyond my control.
Yep, control what you can control.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, man, you got some rapid fire questions for Raven?
Yes, I do. Okay, this is gonna be a little cheesy.
Okay.
What else do we expect?
I'm not even gonna ask that anymore. Just because you
No,
said
go
that,
ahead. Go ahead, brother.
who
Do
who
you?
would you want to play you in the movie?
Ooh,
Wow.
who would I want to play me in a movie? Is it cheesy if I say like Raven Simone?
No.
Yes, because she can't have your name, fam.
Why?
Why not?
It's
She's an
cheesy.
actress.
She's a great actress.
She's a fantastic actress.
Fine, it could be Raven Simone.
Thank you.
It could be Raven Simone. What is one thing that people would never guess about you?
um, ooh, that's difficult. Ooh, I just got my first pair of Jordans yesterday.
just started liking black guys. She
Hey,
got her
welcome.
first pair of
Hey,
Jordans.
Late, but I'm
Hey.
getting here.
DMV, get you a black card now.
Right.
Ow.
Goodness
Just
gracious.
watch every
Heaven.
episode of Martin
Listen,
twice.
listen.
Listen.
Also, go home. You got a smart TV?
I do have a smart TV. What am I
Go,
watching?
go to your crib.
Uh,
download Tubi.
No, please don't.
Just
Don't
watch
go that far.
everything.
no,
Don't go that far.
Watch
absolutely no.
Don't go that
everything.
far.
Absolutely not.
Start with McGraw Ave,
Uh-uh.
and we gonna go
Uh-uh.
from there.
I
right.
have to put my foot down
Don't
there.
go that
I'm
far.
trying to help you. All right, last question. What is something that you think is normal that other people think is crazy?
Oh, this is difficult. What is something that I think is normal that other people think is crazy? I like turbulence on an airplane.
Oh hell no.
Listen, listen.
Hell no.
It's
Raven,
me.
You feel that? You feel that stomach hit?
Right.
Oh.
That's
Everybody else
God.
is panicking. I'm like, I can finally go to
God.
sleep now.
see, it's everything's making sense.
I don't
First
want
pair
to be
of
this close
Jordans.
to you right now, Lord.
This is crazy.
It rocks me asleep. It's like,
Nah.
Listen, thank you for coming. We appreciate you.
of course.
This has been another episode of the Dan and Danny Show. Appreciate y'all for watching. Be sure to subscribe and share, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.